inkproducts.com has now released its Executive Series 3 continuous ink system for HP's new Officejet Pro 8610, 8620, and 8630. Also, we released one for the 8640 and the 8660. Now, our new Executive Series 3 will come with all the parts and pieces. It now will have our new exclusive double loop hose bracket, isobaric chamber, new COC smart chips. By the way, these new smart chips will now work with the 8610 series, the new series, all the way back to the old series of the Pro 8600. Because as of January 2014, HP changed some of the firmware in some of their printers, so the older chips or older HP cartridges even would not work. So bear that in mind. If you have an older 8600 system, you won't be able to put it in the 8610 series unless you want to change the chip. We have the chips. You can order a set of chips. It's going to come with priming and purging syringes, safety catch, and the hose bracket. It's going to be filled with our Ultra Pro True Color Pigment ink. This is an OEM matched ink, so will not clog the printhead. I'm going to show how simple it is to put in. Open the door. Cartridges are going to come over. Now, if you notice, I already put the one hose bracket right there, and I have another one around the side. That's all you're going to need. Okay, when the cartridges come over. Now, this is very important. You cannot put the continuous ink system in if you have a depleted cartridge. So if one of your cartridges says depleted, you've got to get rid of that error code first before you can install the system. Otherwise, you'll get either ink system failure or printer failure. Now, to remove the cartridges, this is important, and even HP points this out. Push at the bottom. Don't push at the top. That'll open up. You'll be able to take out the cartridges. Now, you want to save these. These are the starter cartridges. The reason why you want to save them is because you'll be able to refill them and use them for testing or priming up a system. Now, I'll explain a little bit how this works. HP actually pumps air into the cartridge, expands the bag, and pushes ink into the printhead. Well, our new Executive 3, we have the same type of cartridge. In the front of our cartridge, I'll show you, we have that same little port. It's going to push air in, expand the valves inside, and push ink into the printhead. So now it'll be able to prime the printhead just like the HP cartridges. Okay, now I'm going to take them out. Now you're going to get printed instructions. But if you see, if you measure either from here over or from here over, you'll know exactly where the bracket is. Now for the purpose of the video, I put a ruler up here. I want to go from here over. So it's about 6 inches. Pretty close to that. So as long as you get it there, you push it all the way up, the hose is going to go right in here. Now I'm going to be able to set the cartridges like this and put them in. But before we put them in, I want to take you over to the system. Get this out of the way. When you first get it, you're going to rock it. This is going to take all the ink that's in the isobaric chamber out, because in shipping, ink can get into that chamber. And once you rock it few times. It's very important you do this, because if you don't, the colors won't come out good. Stand it back up. Open this up. Now, I'm not going to remove the small air plugs in the back yet until I put the cartridges in. Okay, now I'm going to open up the small air plugs in the back. That has to be open for the system to work. The only time you close them is when you're going to move the printer or when you're filling the ink tanks back up. Isobaric chambers in the back, double loop. Double loop keeps constant pressure to the cartridges and to the printhead. It's very important, much better than a backflow damper. Backflow dampers on the newer printers just don't work. That's why we stopped using them. The older ones work fine. The newer ones, like some of the Canons, Epsons, and some of the new HPs, you don't want to use backflow dampers. Okay, so I balance, put the, like that, got my one hose bracket here, I got the main one here, now I can put the cartridges in. Okay, now I've got the cartridges in, and I'm going to push in the bottom to lock them in. Take your time, because I'm pushing it in, I lock them in. Now, I'm going to leave about that much hose out. That should be, you notice I didn't have to shut the machine off or anything, but you know, you might want to get a light here because it's kind of hard when you're putting the cartridges in. I just give myself a little extra hose here, and I'll bring it around. You don't have to cut anything, and I'll put it in the other hose bracket. So you don't have to cut anything. Now, if you see air in the hose, pay no attention to that, because after we do the first charge or cleaning, there, as simple as that. Now, I'm going to open up the little plug. Now, we don't need air filters or any of that stuff because this ink tank protects it against the ink against dust and light. So I go back here and I'm going to open up. Now, you might get some ink on your fingers, so wear a pair of rubber gloves or something, because that can happen. You get a little extra ink come up. Close it up. Watch the ink gets about 1 inch from the bottom. Now you can fill them. You plug off the small hole, open up the big hole. That's the way you do it. Can't take both of them out, otherwise all the ink from the front will run into the isobaric chamber. Now, I've used this system on this printer. This is one of 3 that we have that we did our testing on to make sure everything worked, all the chips worked. Okay, you don't have to cut anything because when you close it, push on this corner. Now it's going into charge right now. So you heard that noise. That means it's charging. Now after you install the cartridge, one of the first warning codes or error codes or scare codes that come up, it's going to say a non-HP cartridge. Just press OK. Okay, now the main menu is going to come up on the front. There's a little ink drop. I'm going to touch that. Now I've had this continuous sync system in, so that's why my ink levels are down. Now what we're looking for is when it goes all the way down and you get the question marks across the board. When you get those, a lot of the error codes go away. So that's what we want to see.